There we go. Okay, so welcome, Adriano Autino. Adriano Vittorio Autino, maybe if I say that right, is co-founder and former president of the Space Renaissance Initiative. SRI is an intercultural nonprofit association whose mission is the opening of the space frontier, low-cost access to space, space tourism, industrialization of the geolunar space, use of near-Earth asteroids, and the full development of the space economy. Adriano has a background in software and systems engineering and has worked as a project manager and entrepreneur in real-time automation systems. His insatiable curiosity and the desire to engage in frontier fields have led him to be with us today. Welcome, Adriano. Feel free to share your screen and go ahead and proceed with your presentation.
So I have to thank you very much for giving me the possibility to present here today. And it's an honor for me. And I had previous opportunities to discuss with Frank White, and it was wonderful to feel 100% in agreement on the philosophy and on the strategy, on the, let me say, policy focus. So it's I'm very happy to be here and to continue the talk with Frank and the other colleagues. So, may I share my screen?
You should have permission. Is it working?
PowerPoint presentation. Okay, it is here. Okay, can you see it?
Yes. We see it, and it is in presenter's mode. Please proceed. Thank you.
Perfect. So my presentation today is to illustrate a campaign that Space Renaissance International has kicked off since a couple of weeks. So we are at the very beginning. We are getting other organizations to support this campaign and to make it a real viral campaign. And the campaign is to add an 18th Sustainable Development Goal to the 2030 agenda of the United Nations. For that scope, we will have a panel at the United Nations General Assembly the 18th of September in New York City. We will have a whole day, two sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The morning session will be, to be quick, Space for Earth, therefore the use of space technologies for benefit of Earth communities and emerging countries, and very much inclusive. And in the afternoon, we will talk about expansion into space, so the civilization expansion into space. That, in our opinion, is the only thing that can make the other 17 SDGs really sustainable, because 8 billion people cannot make it anymore on one only planet, and for a lot of reasons, resources, energy, environment, climate, and so on. So we have to start moving outside in order to allow our Mother Earth to take the breath and recover a little bit from the big troubles that we caused to her. So, okay, let's go. 2015 can be named as a turning point in history because reusable rockets have dramatically decreased the cost of transportation from Earth to orbit. And such process is paving the path towards civilian space development and astropolitical uses of space as well, and is creating a growing interdependent relationship between life on and beyond Earth. So 2015 can now be identified as a turning point in history, signifying a change of paradigm from traditional aerospace to a new space age. The UN 2030 agenda was made in the old space age, when outer space was not considered as a dimension that helps to increase the sustainability of development. Space science and technologies are supporting social and environmental goals on Earth for many years, yet that will not be enough to warrant a really sustainable development. To allow a true sustainable development, it is indispensable and urgent to start civilian space development outside Earth boundaries. So the UN 2030 agenda needs to be updated. And we propose an 18 SDG to be added: space for all, civilian space development, and communities living beyond Earth. So the title is still evolving, okay, because the campaign is in the beginning. A new organization are coming in the promoter group, and they are proposing to refine the title and the abstract and so on. So okay, but this is the substance, more or less. So what means a sustainable development? It is widely believed that sustainability means nothing else than reducing human activities on Earth in order to decrease our ecological footprints on this planet. But that would imply a rapid decay of civilization. As stated in the 1986 UN resolution, development is an universal civil right. We propose a more advanced concept of sustainability. The only way for 8 billion terrestrials to moderate their footprint on Earth would be to commence developing elsewhere. Expanding civilization into space will progressively relocate industry off Earth and consequently relieve the burden of our development on home planet. Earth's green lungs and seas will regenerate themselves, Mother Earth will take a breath, and human civilization will resume growth and become more inclusive. Okay, so if we have a look, a general look to the 17 SDGs, we can see that they are not, they don't have a hierarchical organization. We may think that the order somehow express a priority. So if it is so, it means that the social goals, no poverty, zero hunger, good health, and so on, are the priority. And then we go to the industrial growth, the social growth, reduced inequalities, and so on, the environmental goals, and peace and justice, and so on. So we don't know if the creators of the 17 SDGs had this priority in mind, and maybe not. Maybe they just wanted to put all of the goals on the same level. However, I think a hierarchical organization is needed. So what can we note? We can note that the 7, 8, and 9 SDGs that are related to economic and social growth, so affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and industry, innovation, and infrastructure, are key for realizing the other 14 SDGs. It is clear that if we don't have social growth, we cannot do anything on any of the other SDGs, not against poverty, hunger, and so on, but neither against the environment, to recover the environmental issues, because only more technology, more engagement, more scientific engagement can, for 8 billion, never forget that we are 8 billion people. So our problems are very complex because we are many people. And to decrease is not a solution, because to decrease will mean accelerate the implosion of the civilization. So let's go ahead. We understood that these 3 goals are the main goals, are the pillars, the key pillars to sustain all the rest. So the problem is this one. This is a possible reorganization, a hierarchical reorganization of the goals. The 3 goals of industrial growth assure social growth and cultural growth to realize the human life, social goals, and environmental goals, and the methodology goals about peace and collaboration and so on. The question is, are these 3 pillars sustainable? This is the real question. Our answer is not. If the SDGs will be confined within the boundaries of planet Earth, it is inevitable that the industrial development goals will conflict with the environmental goals. Some conflictual factors are energy demand. It is increased by electronic and web society. People think that staying at home and communicating like we are doing now is a less consumption of resources. Not true. It's more consumption because it requires a lot of energy more. And so the electric mobility, the electric cars and everything around by electric energy. A scarcity of raw materials, key materials, rare earths, raising new resource wars and conflicts. Pollution increased by disposal of batteries and other technological wastes. Oceans overexploitation and pollution. Social issues increased by multiple crises. We don't forget the pandemic, the coronavirus, and now the war, the stupid war going on. And we had a report by ISPRI yesterday saying that the world is spending 2.234 trillions for military expenditure in 2022. So there is an increase of 3.7% with respect to the previous year. So the tragedy is that we are having several multiple crises, and we are working for that and not for life. This is very, in comparison, the expenditure for space is only 100 billions a year. So it's less than 5% compared to the military expenditure. These things have to change, definitely. And we, the space community, have the duty to change this thing, to work for that. So this is what we need. Civilian space development, the 18th SDG, will sustain all the rest of the SDGs because it will assure abundant resources from the solar system, environmental relief on Earth because we move outside. So our moving industry outside, in perspective, will halve the demand for energy on Earth because demand of energy on Earth will be only the one of the private citizens. Industry will take energy directly from the sun in space, where it's very more effective and so on. So this is our hierarchical reorganization. The key word is sustainability, but this is another concept of sustainability with respect to let me say, the mainstream, no? That is going on nowadays. The sustainability of the 7, 8, and 9 SDGs is the real challenge. We can only do that beyond the limits of planet Earth, and expansion is indispensable not to grab space resources to feed Earth society anymore, but to give terrestrial citizens the freedom to settle in the solar system. That would mean to build a trans-terrestrial society and to start profiting of the space diaspora. First of all, survival of civilization. Have to mention trans-terrestrialism is a concept developed by Dr. Marie-Louise Heuser, specialist in space philosophy, and she is the director of our space philosophy laboratory at the Space Renaissance Academy. Okay, then I will give the link to our website, so if someone wants to know more, it will be possible. So, okay, Kraft Erike called the moon a space kindergarten because it is a place near Earth where we can have experience of living in space and working in space without going too much far away. It's only 2-3 days far away from Earth, and it would be easy to recover and to correct errors and all these kind of things. So Mother Earth is here greeting the child going to the school on the moon. Yeah, it is a metaphor, of course. What will civilian space development will be the benefits for the SDGs, for the main SDGs? Energy. Progressive relocation of the industrial development to the geolunar space will restrict the energy demand on Earth's surface to the private citizen. Social growth. The development of the civilian astronautic industry will raise economy at double figure, business opportunity and employment accordingly. So that will be dramatically important for making new jobs and allowing emerging countries to fight and eliminate poverty and so on. Peace and collaboration, because there will be not any more practical reasons for wars for resources, because the resources of the solar system are many magnitudes more than resources on Earth. The environment of planet Earth will be relieved, and the cosmic safety also will be improved. This is something that is not considered by the 17 SDGs, because we have a danger coming from space. There are killer asteroids, possibility to this, that happened several times in the past, and there are cosmic radiation. The sun itself is a source of terrible storms, magnetic storms that is dangerous also if we are protected by the atmosphere, because if the magnetic storm is powerful enough, it can damage life on Earth as well. So our concept of expanding civilization is a global expansion concept. We are now expanded, let's say so, in Earth orbit with a lot of materials, debris and active satellites, and two space stations. To expand means to expand 360 degrees in a globular way all around, including the geolunar space and the near-Earth asteroids, and going more outside to Mars and to Jupiter and so on, to the asteroid belts and so on. So the space policy, we have let me say two main strains to consider: space policy and space science. For space policy should finally adopt a strategy for civilian space development. That means sustain the development of fully reusable, safe and ergonomic vehicles for civilian passengers and cargo transportation. To push the production of fuel in space, mining the moon and the asteroids resources. To push the development of technologies to remove orbital debris and to reutilize them as in situ space resources. I will talk briefly about space debris later. Start building logistic infrastructures and habitats in orbit and airborne Lagrange points endowed with simulated gravity. Promote moon and asteroid mining to get material for space infrastructure construction. Sustain the new space industry worldwide by grants and fiscal reductions. To promote training and education collaboration between space agencies, private enterprises, schools, and universities worldwide. Sustain the space tourism industry and market segment. Currently, the only sector trying to transport untrained civilians in space. That's very important. We cannot think to keep on with the space exploration strategy that only bring to space trained military astronauts. We need to allow normal people like you and me to travel in space and to work in space. And last but not least, to have the non-governative organization to spread their philosophical contribute to the space community, since there's no strategy without philosophy. This is a very important thing that I am sure my friend Frank is sharing 100%. Okay. Okay, I said policy and science, and the science challenges are enabling life in space. Living and working in space is totally different from short exploration scientific missions. The mission requirements are different, particularly with respect to human health. There's a number of scientific issues which need better consideration and priority. It is our main recommendation that such research strains, as well as the above-mentioned space strategy, will be promoted in every context where strategic decisions are undertaken. So, which are these scientific challenges? Protection against solar and cosmic radiation, necessary to allow long time and permanent residence in space. Simulated gravity, necessary to avoid quick change of human physiology, giving the freedom to space settlers to go back to Earth when they like so. We should not think that when people emigrate to space can never come back to Earth, because that will be a deportation, not a better freedom, but a limitation of their freedom. Then a green environment and water in space, necessary to assure an environment similar to the earthly one for biological and psychological need. Low-cost space transportation systems for civilian passenger and cargo, low acceleration, and safe and comfortable atmospheric re-entry mechanism. Going to the end, a quick look of what is going on this front of the condition to kick off civilian space development. Fully reusable, safe and ergonomic vehicles. The cost of Earth to orbit transportation will fall under $1,000 per kilogram when Starship will be operative, the first fully reusable launch vehicle. Low acceleration, protection from cosmic radiation and ergonomics, allowing untrained civilians to travel in space. The next milestones. In 2023, we hope to have the first 100% reusable orbital vehicles operative. And so that will be downsize the cost of the orbital transport. In 2025, we could start maybe to the industrialization of geolunar space by recovering and reuse orbital debris. Within 2030, we could have a fuel production in space from lunar and asteroid resources that will further downsize the orbital transport cost under $100 per kilogram. And within 2030, we could hope to see a humanist expansion strategy to take place in the main spacefaring countries and space agency, development of life and health protection technologies in space, cosmic radiation, simulated gravity, green environment, ergonomics, and comfort. And the sum of all these conditions, the downsizing of the cost and the living condition will make possible to start working beyond the limits of the Earth's atmosphere, and indefinitely. Orbital debris, recovery and reuse. The possible outcomes are claim Earth orbit, eliminating dangerous obstacles to navigation. Use the grid richness in orbit, because the debris cost a lot. The satellites. Before being debris, they were satellite. Always remember, they costed a lot to design them and to put them in orbit. Now, the only solution that we see that our researchers are prospecting is to deorbit them, making them burn in the atmosphere. That is crazy. We have to start reusing, because that is a richness. And the orbital debris and breakages have an advantage with respect to the new things that we put in orbit. They already have an orbital velocity that can be used. Don't need to be boosted anymore. In orbit, the materials are processed to produce fuel in space for passenger and cargo transport vehicles, and kicking off the orbital industrialization. Mining asteroids, get materials to build space infrastructures and produce fuel in space. And furthermore, big asteroids can be digged inside and transformed in rotating habitats with simulated gravity and protection from cosmic radiation. Mining the moon to extract many precious materials, advanced astronomy on the far side, space kindergarten, as I said before, experience with closed artificial ecosystems, and boost a trans-terrestrial economy. Some materials from the moon, oxygen extracted from lunar regolith, water, ice in poles, hydrogen presenting high concentration in poles, metals, iron, titanium, aluminum, silicon, calcium, magnesium, rare earths that are needed for the for the electric for the batteries of the electric devices and so on. Helium-3, that is useful for the fusion, nuclear fusion. Coal and nitrogen extracted from Lugar regolith and regolith for construction. This is what we need to do as a protection of life and health in space, from solar radiation, from galactic radiation, from like supernova, and from asteroids and cometoids. Space tourism should be defended and supported because it's not just a toy for super rich. So this is a duty for space community, because we have to give another narration to the people, different from the one of the general media that say that space tourism is just a toy for super rich and it is a let me say a despise for the poor people and so on. That's not true. This is the only industrial sector working to bring untrained civilians into space. This is a very important task that nobody else is facing. And space tourism is the link between astronautical space exploration and the space settlement, civilian space settlement. With growth of the market, the ticket prices will decrease, so progressively all the people can travel to space. Like now we can travel with low-cost airlines. We can travel everywhere on, in the air. Okay. Last point, bring space and science in schools. The history of space, as well as the history of scientific research, should be added to all education programs, all levels from primary to university. We need to teach the history of love, not just of empires and wars. Our children have to learn the history of the people who dedicated their life to humanity for the progress of civilization. The 18 Sustainable Development Goals shall bring on board this great educational value. So I have concluded. I don't know if I am in time or not. However, here...
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you very much. Here you can sign our pledge for the 18 SDG. You can also just use this QR code to do it. You go there and it is a change.org pledge. So it's we need to collect thousands of signatures. You can also add your organization to the group of promoters on the spaceonessence.space page. You can sign both. And okay, this is all. This is the link to my book, Greater What is Possible. And I think, okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Adriano. What an amazing presentation and so inspired. I would love to, I know that Frank wants to go to the UN with you in September, and some of us would love to support you in that too. And I'm sure that all of us want to sign this this proposition that you're making to for the United Nations. So yeah, Frank's got his thumb up. Frank White of Human Space Program and the Overview Effect. Do you have any words for Adriano?
I don't know what I can add to Adriano. We agree on everything. No, I think what we're trying to say, that's it's kind of new for a lot of people. And you've heard me say it, and so has Jared, but there is this narrative that those of us who talk about leaving Earth are abandoning Earth. No, we're not. We're helping the Earth. And Adriano had that cute graphic of the mother saying goodbye to the child. We're like the kids in the basement who won't get out and leave the parents alone. And the parents are getting old and they need a break. We're fully grown. We're ready to leave the nest. We've got the technology. We've got the intellect. We can do large-scale space migration. And we can help planet Earth if that's the primary interest. And I think Adriano has put it very, very well. People just don't fully grasp yet that we are just straining the carrying capacity of Mother Earth with 8 billion people, and that there is an answer, there is a solution. And I do think having this 18th SDG and tying it directly to Earth is a great idea. So I'm really happy to be part of it, and I think the Human
Thank
Space
you very
Program
much.
is too.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we are making progress, of course. We are talking with NSS and with
Good.
IAF. Therefore, if we will have these two big organizations, it is possible that our proposal will have better opportunity, better chance to be successful.
This
Yeah.
is so exciting. Your presentation today, Adriano, will be posted on YouTube, so we can promote it on social media. Everyone here and all of our live listeners listening and watching on LinkedIn can also help promote this. And this is how it starts, with just a few of us caring about something so deeply and then reaching out to those of us who we're connected to, because it is clear to me, and my heart was joyful as you were presenting, because I thought, you know, we're all in this together, and we have the same values and the same goals. We want the same things, and this is amazing that people across the way are working on these same exact issues. So we are so excited that you came in today and that you talked about this 18th Sustainable Development Goal, Adriano. And I know that Frank wants to get you over at the Human Space Program to present to his group of people as well. So thank you so much, Adriano. Please.
Yeah, I have just a final recommendation for us, for the space community, because unfortunately we keep on talking to each other. We have to become politicians and to become opinion leader, public opinion leader. We have to go outside to speak to the people. It is time. We have to unify our effort and to go outside, because if we don't do that, humanity, civilization will not succeed to win the challenge that we have in front of us. This is so philosophers are very important, because philosophers have a capacity to identify things that nobody see, that are evident but nobody see. So philosophy have the duty to put it in a clear for the people, and politicians, because we need politicians that start working for this program. So I'm sorry to take more time than okay, but I think this is essential. You're mute, Rebecca. You are mute.
Thank you, Adriano. Sorry about that. We appreciate the extra few minutes and your final comments, and just know that there are many of us who are in the front of the public, and we are willing. We are willing to speak our minds and to become public opinion leaders. So keep in touch with us, and everyone who is listening, please follow up with Adriano, and just know that this is happening in September. We're going to start making some waves. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank, for your kind words and support.
Of course.